This is Roger Simon for Pajamas Media, and I'm here with 3 participants in today's Encounter at 10 celebration, in which we heard a lot of high-minded talk.
Make no mistake about it, global governance is a direct challenge to American constitutionalism.
Of course, the whole notion of pooling things like sovereignty is absurd. Sovereignty to a group is what liberty is to an individual.
We need knowledge, we need wisdom, and in the progressive worldview, we have neither until they have been certified by the central government and emblazoned on our consciousness by its alphabet soup of bureaucracies.
We missed something in that, which is the, I expected to hear, but we'll try to hear now, which is something about Encounter books, which has had a very big role in the promulgation of conservative ideas in our culture in the last 10 years. Roger Kimball, who's currently the editor-in-chief of Encounter Books, is here. And Roger, I'd like you to sort of sketch in the history of Encounter for us before we...
Okay, well, it has kind of a curious history, really, and my relation to it is quite curious as well. The name comes from Encounter magazine. At some point, I think it was 1967, a young left-wing firebrand called Peter Collier published in Ramparts magazine the news that Encounter magazine was indirectly funded by the CIA. This is very bad. Front page articles in the New York Times. It was considered to be very bad news. Encounter almost folded at that point when the foundation that had bought Encounter and its name and its assets, mostly debts, I think, decided to open up a publishing house to pursue some of the things that Encounter magazine was interested in pursuing.
I got introduced to Encounter when I published Who Killed Homer with John Heath, and we were ready for the paperback edition, and they asked us to write a reply to the critics, and we were pretty blunt that a number of prominent classicists had been, I think, disingenuous in their criticism, and we were all set to go with the University of California Press, who had bought the paperback rights, and suddenly we realized that they were saying that we couldn't do this. We couldn't publish, this was too controversial, or these people were the pillars of the classics community, and we didn't want to make them look ridiculous, or whatever the particular reason was. That we contacted Peter Collier, and he immediately said, we not only don't worry about controversy, we welcome it if it's done well and it's cited.
I think it's no secret that whether we say liberal or conservative or classical liberal or whatever terminology we want to use, that the mainstream media is predominantly modern liberal or postmodern liberal, however you want to describe it. How do you go about getting, exposure for your books like, Mexifornia or Will Blindness?
Talk radio has been particularly good to my book. The internet has. And I think other than that, you continue to try to push the message and just be consistent about it so that your credibility is maintained.
The second encounter I had with Encounter was with Mexifornia, when I wrote an article for City Journal called Mexifornia. Actually, that wasn't my title, it was City Journal. And Peter again called up and said, we'd like to do it. And I think what I'm getting at is that Encounter is different, not just ideological, but they're quick to react. They look at seams in the publishing industry. They think, here's an opportunity to do something. They're rapid, they're small, they're approachable.
Is there a danger of preaching to the choir in all this? I mean, because the writing is good, the ideas are good, to bring them out to people who might wake up.
The first place I spoke about my book was Brooklyn Law School, and that was definitely not preaching to the choir. So.
I bet not. What was the reaction there?
More civil and thoughtful than you would think. I often find when I go around to colleges to speak about national security issues that the students are more respectful and more open-minded than the faculty.
How have you been thinking much about digital publishing and the rise of the Kindle and all that kind of thing?
We're interested in whatever means are available to disseminate the ideas. I personally think that the book is one of the greatest technological inventions in the history of mankind. That's not to say that there aren't other media that a publisher who's interested in ideas wouldn't avail himself of, and we certainly would do that.
It relates to Victor's point about the speed of publication, which in you know, traditionally a book is 9 months, like a child, but now I imagine that a book could be published as soon as it gets out of copy editing, virtually.
Well, we could publish a book in a matter of, after it's copy edited, a matter of actually a couple of weeks, but it would not get the proper, you know, sort of run-up to marketing and so on, so it wouldn't get bought by Barnes & Noble, it wouldn't get bought by Amazon and so on, in most cases. Now, sometimes it'd be a topic that's just in the public eye, and then you can sort of do a little bit better on time.
Thank you very much to these three gentlemen, Victor Davis Hanson, Andrew McCarthy, and Roger Kimball. This is Roger Simon for Pajamas Media. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.